Chapter 4, question 13 asks you to write the names and the symbols of the elements with the following atomic numbers. Now, the atomic number is the number at the top of each box on the periodic table. Every periodic table should have at least three things: a symbol in the middle, a number on top, and a number on the bottom. If it's a nice periodic table, sometimes it'll have a fourth thing, which is the name underneath the symbol. But the number on the top is called the atomic number, and it represents the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. It's the number of protons that makes each element the element it is. If anything has 6 protons, it's carbon. It doesn't matter how many neutrons, how many electrons. If it has 6 protons, it's carbon. If it doesn't have 6 protons, it's not carbon. So the number at the top, the atomic number, is the number that tells you which atom you're dealing with. And that's why it's called the atomic number. The number of protons tells you which atom it is. So for A, if the atomic number is 3, there are 3 protons in the nucleus. We're going to look at the periodic table and look for the element that has 3 as the number on the top of the box, and that's lithium. So here, what you would write for this one would be Li, that's the symbol, and then lithium, the full name, you'd want to write down as the name. And lithium looks a little bit like that. Okay, how about 9? So 9, if the atomic number is 9, there are 9 protons in the nucleus. The number should be 9 should be at the top of the box, and you can see that that's the case for fluorine. So you'd write 2 things. First, F, capital F for the symbol, and second, the word fluorine. And those 2 things together would be the answer for 13B. Fluorine is a slightly yellow gas most of the time, but it's so light that it's kind of hard to see. So if you make it very, very, very cold, you can see that it condenses into a liquid. That's what this is here, fluorine liquid. What if the atomic number is 20? So now the nucleus has 20 protons. What element does that make it? We can look here, and the way that the periodic table is arranged is it's sort of arranged in the way that words are arranged on a page when you're writing something. So you go from left to right, and once you hit the end, you start back at the next row at the left side, and the numbers get bigger as you do that. But you can see that 20 is calcium. So the box that has 20 at the top, as the number on the top, that is calcium, so you'd want to write the symbol, capital C, lowercase a, and then the second thing you'd want to write is the full name, calcium. So any atom that has 20 protons in the nucleus is calcium. And calcium looks like that. How about 30? What if an atom has 30 protons in the nucleus? What is that element? And so you'd look, move over. The box on the periodic table that has a 30 at the top is zinc. So any atom that has 30 protons in its nucleus is zinc. So you'd want to write 2 things. The first thing is capital Z, then N for zinc. And then the second thing is the name zinc. Those 2 things together would be the answer for 13D. And zinc looks like this. How about 10? What if there are 10 protons in the nucleus? In other words, what if the atomic number is 10? What element is someone talking about? So we look for 10, and 10 is neon. You can see the box that has a 10 at the top. In other words, the box that has an atomic number of 10, that is neon. So you'd want to write 2 things, capital N, lowercase e, so that would be the symbol. And the second thing you'd want to write is the word neon. Neon is a clear gas, but when you send electrons through it, it lights up in this red color, in this neon red color. How about 14? What if there are 14 protons in the nucleus of an element? Well, then you would go down here and you would see that it would be silicon. So silicon is the element that has a 14 at the top of its box on the periodic table. That means that it has 14 protons in its nucleus. So you'd write first the symbol, capital S, lowercase I, and second you would write the full name, silicon. And those 2 things together would be the answer for 13F. Silicon looks a little bit like that. Okay, how about if there's 53 protons in the nucleus? What element is that? If the atomic number is 53, then the element is iodine. So iodine has 53 protons in its nucleus. Its atomic number The number at the top of the box in the periodic table is 53. And so you'd write down two things for that. Capital I for iodine, and then the full name, iodine. Those two things together would be the answer for 13G. And iodine is that sort of black-purple solid or liquid that vaporizes very easily to give you a purple gas. How about 8? What if you have 8 protons in the nucleus? Well, then you are oxygen. Any atom that has 8 protons in its nucleus is oxygen, and anything that's oxygen has 8 protons in its nucleus. So you would write down the symbol, capital O, for oxygen, and then also the full name, oxygen, and those two things together would be the answer for 13H. Now, we're used to seeing oxygen as a clear gas in the air, although the air is only 19% oxygen. Most of the air, 79% of the air, is actually nitrogen. But oxygen is a clear gas. If you cool it down to a solid, and that requires you to get really cold as negative 361 degrees Fahrenheit, then oxygen turns into a very beautiful blue solid, like you can see here.